Video games. What a wonderful distraction from the world of social interaction. Yeah, what a wonderful time. If you could tell, I'm having a party soon. I'm going to be inviting a very special guest. And normally I'd be stressing over something like this. I have the food prepared for way before he arrives. Oh, okay, don't panic. I don't know what else to make. I don't have time to make anything else. What am I supposed to do? What?
Cooking Mama, for those who don't know, was originally a budget series of cooking games, and sometimes everythings, for the Nintendo DS. The gameplay tried to emulate the feel of creating food, and it was fun, if not a little repetitive. There was always a wide variety of food to choose from, and each ranged in the numbers of steps required, ranging from stuff like seafood spaghetti with over 5 steps, to instant ramen with only 1 step, adding water. The series was picked up with the DS's casual audience, and the simple yet fun gameplay led to the series selling well.
Since the series sold well, it made sense when the Nintendo Wii came out to capitalize on its casual audience. So in 2007, Cooking Mama Cook-Off was released.
Cooking Mama!
Starting up Cook-Off, we can see a few changes right off the bat, like how the game uses 3D models for the most part instead of being 2D like the originals. They attempted to make the graphics look cel-shaded in order to make it look like the original, but the characters look kinda plastic-like, and the colors contrast way too much, so you end up seeing a lot of bright white on the screen, which isn't that good to look at in my opinion. It also doesn't help that the food is in a realistic style, which adds a contrast that I believe makes the game look even more unfocused. Overall, it ended up looking worse than if they just made it in a 2D hand-drawn art style. Back on subject, the game is divided into 3 main modes. Let's just dive into Let's Cook mode. It's the Cooking Mama mode that we come to know. You select what food you want to cook, and you can either go straight to the cooking minigames, or you can practice any step in the making of food in case you have trouble with them. This mode does have one main difference in the DS version. Next to the foods is a flag to signify a country. I assume it's the country of origin, but I could be wrong. This game has a wide variety of food for different places of the world. It enters the US with popcorn, hamburgers, and hot dogs.
Really showing the culinary variety of the US, aren't we?
The cooking, like the DS game, is done in a series of minigames. The main type of minigames you'll see are the chopping ones, the dropping games, the mixing games, the cooking ones, and that's just a few. There are a lot of different ways to prepare food in this game. You are scored at the end of each minigame with either very good, which means you did the minigame correctly and mom will compliment you, good, which means you did the game correctly but maybe with a few mistakes, and try harder, which means you failed the game and mom doesn't take it very well. The scores add up to a final ranking you get on the food you cook. Okay, now that I've gone over that, let's cook some food. I want something easy to start out with, so I chose custard since it can't be that hard.
What year is this game released in again? Early Wii. Oh no.
The DS version of Cooking Mama controlled using the stylus, and although for the most part it worked fine, sometimes it could be a bit unresponsive, leading to higher rankings being harder to get. But the Wii version obviously didn't have access to stylus controls, so they resorted to using motion controls for the minigames. Starting with the first step in making the custard, we need to crack some eggs. To crack the egg, you need to simulate the motion of cracking an egg with the Wii remote, and depending on how fast you do it, you can either crack the egg to open and ruin it, or properly crack it so you can add it to the bowl. Crack it too little and you have to do it twice until it's cracked properly. Afterwards, you simply press A to add it to the bowl. Do that 5 times and the minigame is over. Although it works for the most part, this minigame is a little odd with the controls. Cracking the egg requires a different amount of speed when you swing the Wii remote. A technique that I found to work was actually to tap on the top of the remote in order to sort of emulate the motion presented. It actually seemed to react pretty accurately to the force I put on it. Sometimes I'll still mess it up a few times by the end of the minigame since the motion controls aren't perfect, but overall I'm a little impressed. The minigame is fine, but it can be a little annoying. The next minigame is one pulled straight from the DS game. You are in front of a table with some ingredients and a bowl full of egg yolk. There is a little window on the screen that slowly reveals the ingredient that needs to be added, and then you select the ingredients in the proper order. If you select the wrong ingredient, the game will give you a big X on your screen, then that's it. There's not that much challenge to this minigame, but it's an extremely basic game, so that should be expected. Next minigame is Stir, which is as basic as it sounds. You follow the on-screen prompt and spin the Wiimote in a circular motion in order to stir the mixture. If you stir correctly, it will spin faster until the minigame is over. There isn't that much to say about this minigame. You also have to make sure you're spinning the controller correctly or the game will misread your motion. The next minigame requires you to pour a mixture into a container by tilting the Wii remote. Make sure not over pour it and spill it, or to slowly pour it and not fill enough. Personally, I think this is the worst minigame type in the game, and this mainly comes down to how precise the Wii remote motion is. It is easy to either pour very little or pour the entire thing at once, and it makes the minigame way more frustrating than it should be. The issue specifically with this game is that the difference in being enough to fill it and too much is too precise in my opinion. You can also get 100 bonus points by filling it up perfectly. The next thing you have to do is switch off an oven when the food is done cooking.
For how simple this game is, it's kind of surprising how it managed to mess it up.
When a minigame first begins, you have to hold A and twist the Wiimote to turn on the oven. Then on the bottom left, the button that says off appears, so you assume that you have to press the off button again to turn off. But no, you have to hold A and twist the Wiimote to turn off. which you would really only know if you read the instructions at the beginning. But the meter disappears, so most people would assume that doesn't matter after that point. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people messed up on their first try. The final minigame is to remove the custard from the containers that they were in. This one controls the same as the egg cracking minigame, and it has the same control issues. You can't use too much force on the Wiimote, otherwise you'll damage the custard. Remove them all and the minigame is over. After that, we are shown an image of the completed dish, and we are shown our score and ranking. Then we are shown any new dishes that may have unlocked. That is the rundown of cooking mode. I could show you every type of dish and minigame type, but I didn't want this video to last forever.
Hey, does this game have cook-off in the title for a reason? Let's see what that's about.
The next mode, Friends and Food, and the main selling point of this game is the multiplayer competitive split screen mode where you and a friend, or in this case future enemy, can compete to see who will get the best score in a dish. Besides that, it's mainly the same game, just with each player having half the screen, and if you mess up you have to awkwardly wait until your person finishes in order to move on. Knowing the controls in this game is important to win this mode. It can lead to some fun based on who can win while fighting against the controls. In fact, it took me several tries to cook popcorn in this game due to this one minigame that required me to waggle the Wiimote really fast in order to not burn the popcorn, but it requires insanely precise movement. Some minigames are also on autopilot, most of the time, so getting more points than the person might not be an option. Even if the competition aspect of it is a little weak, it is an opportunity to play these meals with a friend without any downgrades to gameplay, which is very appreciated. If you are going to play this game, this is the way I'd recommend playing it, although I don't think you can unlock more meals by playing this mode. Aside from that, I don't really have too much extra to say, it's just Cooking Mama with a 2-player. A mode I do have a little bit to say about is the Friends and Food of the World. In this mode, rather than competing with a friend, you face off against different characters that represent each location that the food is from in this game. They don't even have names, they're just Spanish friend or Russian friend. They're all dressed up stereotypically, and each one only has 1 or 2 dishes to face off against. Then there's this Waldo looking American friend by himself, and of course he's the nerdiest looking one in the game.
Just ignore it and play the game.
This mode is like the 2-player mode for people without friends, and it's pretty much the same except the second player is the CPU. And may I be the first one to say the CPU is completely unfair. This is partially due to you having to deal with the motion controls and they don't, but it seems like at times they will at task levels unfair, and I usually end up getting completely destroyed by the CPU every single time I face them. Thankfully, you don't actually have to beat them to get the prize at the end, which is an object to decorate your kitchen. This mode is found in the options and it's really basic. It's just a room where you use the Wiimote pointer to look around the room with the objects you get. That's seriously all this mode is. You can press B to have the cursor do a grabbing animation, but I'm unsure as to what the purpose is. This mode is so basic, I can't see many people using this mode very often at all, which is likely why they hid in the options menu rather than it being in the main menu. Going back to the mode at hand, unless you really want to challenge yourself how good you are at the game, you won't be playing it that often. It's overall an okay mode to play if you don't have anyone to play with. The main issue is the difficulty of it, which could be off-putting for some people. Now that I've gone through that, it's time for my final opinion. The game does contain a wide variety of food to choose from and has some good ever modes, and the controls, although being motion, don't do a horrible job at emulation of the motion presented. The bland presentation could use some work, but overall is a solid attempt at converting the Cooking Mama gameplay to Wii. I could see someone potentially having a little fun with the multiplayer, but that fun would be very brief. I don't see a lot of people personally having a crazy amount of fun with this game, but if you happen to be a Cooking Mama fan, this game should bring you some enjoyment. I can safely give this game a light recommendation.
So that's Cooking Mama Cook-Off. I was a bit harsh in the game, but I honestly did enjoy my time with it, and I got to learn some crucial cooking techniques. Now let's see if our special guest is ready.
Yeah, hello.
Are you ready for the big feast?
Oh no, I'm not ready at all.
Wait, why?
Yeah, look, I don't hang around with the small fry like you, so I'm really busy right now, so I'm just gonna not talk to you ever again.
Didn't I plan to cancel this and you're just going to decide to... He hung up. Well, since that happened, looks like I have to go to my old pal ramen noodles instead. Okay, so a crucial point when cooking ramen noodles is to make sure you don't overfill the pot. Because if you do, it will end up a crucial cooking process of... How did I mess that up?